Welcome to Closing Day. Closing Day is the real estate show that covers everything in real estate from the moment you think about buying a home all the way up to closing day. Now, one of the most important components of real estate is renovating. Like, there is no real perfect home out there. Everyone wants to go out and find the perfect home. Well, you can't find the perfect home. You can find the right home and make it perfect, and that's why renovating is so important. So today, I have with me Chad Ferguson from Ferguson Fine Homes, and he's going to tell us all about the different components of renovations, and we'll get into maybe some new home building as well. My name is Jeff DelGrand. I'm your host. Chad, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Jeff.
So Chad, we wanted to start off by talking about home renovations. And I guess let's discuss about what sort of got you into home renovations. What piqued your curiosity or your interest in that?
Actually, it was my brother. He started in the business, and I came to work for him.
Yeah?
So it was about 17 years now, and I've been working with him ever since.
Really?
Yeah, I co-own the business with my brother Billy, and we also have another brother that works with us as well, and we've been doing this for 17 years.
17 years?
Together. Wow. He's been going longer than that. I've been working with him for 17 years.
That's amazing. I mean, that's great because you've got that knowledge, that experience. Okay, so let's say I bought myself a house. Now I want to make it the perfect house. What steps should someone go through when they're thinking about renovating their home?
Well, I mean, it's always good to know a little bit about what you want to do. Like before you call somebody, it's nice to think about what you want to do before you call.
Okay.
It always helps if when you call me, you have a little bit of information. You don't need it. You can call me with none and I can walk you through it.
Okay.
But if you call me and you have pictures, or if you've been onto sites like House or Pinterest and you tag some ideas and some things that you'd like to either kind of copy or have an idea from one thing or another that you want to, a little thing from here and a little thing from there, and you want to mash them together, it's nice to give me a visual idea of what you want, right? Some people just don't get that visual thing on their own, so pictures help.
Yeah, I would have a hard time with that. If it wasn't for my wife, I'd be living in a square white box with, maybe one chair and, I don't know, beer furniture. I just have no vision that way. So.
Yeah, and lots of people are like that. They just, they say, oh, well, I want to do a renovation, but they don't know what they want to do. So that's why I say, we can always walk you through it and do what we want to do, but then you run the risk of getting what I want, not what you want.
Right.
So
you'll work with whoever it is.
Absolutely.
Oh, that's good. Okay, so first they have to get their concept, I guess, the idea.
Yep.
And then what's the next step a person should take?
Well, depending on the size of the job,
mm-hmm.
The concept is sometimes is a little bit more difficult than others. If you're doing a bathroom renovation, then obviously it's a pretty small thing to do. You go onto a site, you look at a couple ideas that might relate to the space that you have. But if you're doing a bigger, like say a whole home, well, you might want to look a little further. Where you want to see it visually, you might want to involve a designer or somebody to draw it out for you.
Oh, okay. Now, I've seen some of these drawings before on the computer, right? They're like three-dimensional almost, and you can move through the rooms.
Yep.
You can get all that stuff too?
Yeah, just through a designer.
That's amazing. That is so neat.
Or an architect. There's two options. One of them gives you a little bit more detail. Like when you go to an architect, they're usually a little bit more pricey, but they give you a lot more detail. So you would get things like actual trim profiles, stuff like that would be on there. So I would know exactly what I'm building. Okay. Whereas a designer, they would lay out the rooms and everything would be kind of there, but we would fill in the small details together.
All right, so they're getting the ideas together, the concept together, you're getting a designer or an architect. So we've basically got we were onto this a little bit the last show about expectations. So you sort of got the expectations set at this point, I guess, what the person's going to get. So what happens next?
Well, then we, depending on the size of the job, if you need to apply for a permit or not.
Oh, right.
Then we would move to that step, which I have somebody, myself or an office manager who can walk you through that. We can take out the permits ourselves.
Right.
Sometimes the homeowner, they would prefer to do it on their own.
Okay.
Or they have them before they come see us. Some people they do their homework and they're ready to go. Sometimes they call me when they're ready to start.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we can walk you through that process. We can take them out. We're pretty, we know the town very well, so we're in and out of there quite often. Makes it a lot easier for us to do than sometimes the homeowner.
Okay. And now you mentioned the town. Now, would you go to like Bolton, Caledon, Shelburne?
All of them. Yeah.
Excellent. So the whole area you'll cover.
Yeah, absolutely. Like right now, we're in Toronto, we're in Caledon, and we're in Orangeville. So we're dealing with all three of the towns right now.
Wow. Now, is there a lot more work now that the market has gone crazy, or how do you find it?
I find a lot of people are really into doing the renovations right now because the real estate, it's pretty high, and they're not moving around a lot. They seem to be trying to fix up what they have. So the renovation market right now seems to be very good, for me anyways.
Well, I mean, you've been around for a long time. You've gotten a great reputation. You do good work. I've seen some of it. So that all's got to help. So what about pricing? Everyone, I guess they want to know what the costs are like. So where does that fit in?
Well, really, I mean, I know a lot of people that you talk to, they start throwing numbers around like it's $200 a square foot, and I never do that. I wouldn't give you a square footage cost or anything.
I wouldn't know what you were talking about. So
my preference is to have somebody call me to go in, talk about the project, and then I would give you a project specific price or a budget. And then that way it's a little bit more realistic. For instance, if you called me and you said you wanted to add a bedroom to a house, well, if I give you a square footage cost, it's totally different if you're adding a bedroom as opposed to adding a bathroom.
Yeah.
Because there's a huge difference in adding plumbing fixtures, tubs, and so the square footage cost doesn't really compute when you deal with those two separate things. So everybody always wants a square footage cost, but it doesn't always apply.
Right. Yeah, I've heard that with new home construction. It could be X amount per square foot, and then someone will say, yeah, but it depends how you finish it.
Yeah,
it could be double that if you put in really fancy finishings, for example.
That's right. And I mean, we normally do a little bit more of a higher end finish.
Yeah.
So if I were to give a square footage cost, then I would have to push it to the higher end. And I'd prefer not to do that. I would prefer to give them an actual number.
Yeah, and I imagine people are more comfortable with that as well.
Yeah, actually. So, I mean, it's worked for me, and that's my preference, and I know that some people do it another way, but that's the way that we've always done it, and we'll continue to do it.
Okay. So when someone's getting ready to have some work done to their house, what can they do that's going to make your job easier?
Well, like I said before, I mean, if they're going to make our job easier, obviously a little bit of homework is always nice.
Right.
If you think about what it is you want to do, because most people that call, they have an idea of what they want to do. As far as adding a room or making one bigger, they have that all worked out. The part that they don't usually think about is what they're going to put in it. What type of flooring, tile, types of toilets, or just design features. And those are the parts that I was talking about. If they could go and get some pictures or have ideas, it sure does cut down on a lot of the legwork that we have to go through to get there.
Right. That would make sense. Now, what would the person expect? In other words, I would imagine that if you're going to do a full renovation on my house, it's going to be a little bit crowded in my place.
Yeah, I mean, ideally in a perfect world, if you're going to do a renovation to your whole house, our preference would be that you had another place to stay to give it to us vacant. The work does go a lot quicker if the place is empty and there's nobody around. But I mean, sometimes it's not an option.
Right.
So we have had to work around that in the past. I mean, it does actually work out to adding a little bit more money to the cost.
Right. Well, I guess that makes sense, right? If you got
Yeah, because then we're worried about plasticking areas off and keeping people clean, or maybe saving a bathroom that we'd got originally, so we'd have to gut one day and then come back to maybe do something that could have been done in one shot. So it adds a little bit more cost if you have to do it that way, but it's definitely doable.
Okay, yeah. So, but for major renovations, if you can find a place to stay,
if you can get out, then it's in your best interest to get out,
Yeah.
because you're going to cut the length of the renovation. You should be able to cut it way down if you can find another place.
Okay. But for a minor renovation, maybe a basement or something like that,
Not a problem. So you can be upstairs, we can renovate your basement. We usually look at 8 to 12 weeks, somewhere in that range, depending on the size or what's in it. You know, if there's a bathroom or 2 bathrooms, then we're usually in around that range.
Okay, all right. So, and I guess family pets, probably keep them back as well, because you have people coming in and out. And
you know what, I mean, that's another thing too, is if you have a friendly pet and he's around, that's one thing. If you have another pet that is not so friendly, then it's probably not going to want to be, you guys won't want him around. But at the end of the day, it's better if he's not around. I wouldn't want him to get hurt. So if you have a pet, it would be nice if he was contained for the workers, for sure.
Well, that I think makes sense, but it's probably good to say that, because not everybody will think that. You know, they think their pet is part of their home.
And I get that he is. I mean, I'm a dog owner, and I take my dog everywhere. But at the end of the day, I wouldn't trust anybody to be cutting wood and stuff around my dog. Accidents happen, and I wouldn't want to be liable for that one.
No, everyone loves their pets. So,
exactly.
Okay, so we'll take that into consideration for sure.
Yeah.
So we've got them where we've got the expectations laid out now. They'll get their pricing up front. They'll know what type of finishings they're going to get. We'll tell them the length of time it would take. Now, there is sort of a standard in the industry, my side of the industry, which people don't know what they're doing, and that is when you get an estimate, someone says it'll be done in a week, it usually takes longer. Is that usually the case, or is that just sometimes the case? Or what is that all about?
I would say that it's probably always the case.
Okay.
And it's not always the contractor's fault.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that it hasn't been, but typically when you get into doing the job, if a homeowner decides they want to change something, and it happens all the time, then it adds to the duration of the project.
Oh, I'd be the worst client for you. I won't get a tattoo because I know I'll change my mind the next day, right? So if you start working on my house, I know there'll be changes. So
it's not uncommon for me to come in, you know, to set a plan with a homeowner, and we have an idea of what we're going to do, and the day we tear everything out, things change. You know, it's just the nature of the beast. Once you see the wide open area, and the wheels start to turn, more ideas come up, and lots of times there is the option to make changes on the fly. Not always, but most often you can do that.
Okay. Now, something I want to touch on, and we'll do after the break, is new home construction. A lot of people don't believe that they can actually build their dream home through someone like yourself. And I think we can, discuss this different ways. I think that many people have this problem with, how do I afford it? We won't touch that topic today, but that's a very easy step to the whole thing. Okay, so thank you very much. We'll come back in a few minutes and we'll talk about new home construction then.